Hello and welcome back to my RC channel. I'm Andy RC and today I'm going to be revisiting the Diatone GT-R90. Now, if you didn't see my review of this copter, I will link it in the below. It did result in the copter catching fire, and Diatone, rightly so, were very quick to react to that video, and they commented on it and they advised that the conditions weren't fair, and I absolutely agree. The temperature was -6. It was foggy, so there was a lot of moisture in the air, and there was also a lot of snow on the ground. So I absolutely acknowledge that those conditions weren't fair to review the copter, so I'm going to give it another go, and they've very kindly sent another model in. So, I have actually made a couple of changes. When I did my initial review, I noted that there wasn't a buzzer on there, and I went into D-Shot commands, upgraded the version of BLHeli-S, and I made it so that we had a lost model alarm with the motors twitching there. But I did mention that there is a solder pad for a buzzer, but I was concerned about the space. That was wrong. There is plenty of room for a buzzer. So on this model that they have sent, I have just added one here. It's one of those little tiny buzzers, and you can pick that up off Banggood. It's the same buzzer that they list for the old brushed QX series, and I've just added a little cable there and just soldered that in. So very easy to do. I think they should have done that out of the box, but that's just my opinion, of course. So yeah, we have got a lost model alarm and a voltage alarm now, so that's pretty cool. I have changed out the props, so in my other review I used the Gemfan 4-blade props, the 2035. I have switched those out for the new Gemfan 2040 tri-blade propellers. So yeah, I'm told that these propellers work very well on this model, so I'm going to be trying that out. And I'm going to be using a 3-cell battery, because that's one thing that Diatone did advise as well. They said that it's probably best to use a 3-cell battery as well. I think the fact that it does take a 4S was a sort of marketing technique, but really I think it's going to perform best on a 3-cell battery. So this is actually the 3-cell battery from the Ishin Lizard. I've got various other 3-cell batteries that I can test. Now, a lot of people complained about the 4-cell battery that I use with this model in my original review, so I have sourced some Tattoo 450 milliamp batteries. They are so light, so I think if I do test this model on a 4S, which I'm very reluctant to do because I do believe that 3S is still the perfect size and weight and power for this copter, but I do have some lightweight 4S batteries, but I'd be concerned about the flight time with these, but I am going to try it out anyways because I think that's what you guys want to see. So other than these small changes that I have made for this particular review compared to the original, everything else is the same. So it's the same type of receiver. It's not the same receiver because every component got burnt up. This is a question that I got a lot on the original review, was can you send it to me and I'll fix it? Well, nothing will power up individually. I tried. The camera wouldn't power up. The receiver wouldn't, the flight controller wouldn't, the ESC board and the VTX, nothing would power up individually, so it really did a number on it. But it's the same type of DH receiver, same version of Betaflight, and the same PIDs, so it should be fairly similar to my original review in that respect. And a question that I got asked on the original review as well, it was a common theme, should I get this or the Babyhawk R? And what I will say to that is I don't have the Babyhawk R. I'm hoping to get one, but from a specifications point of view, I think the Babyhawk R has got slightly bigger motors, not necessarily better motors, but the Babyhawk R has got the official Foxia micro camera, whereas this is a copy. That doesn't necessarily mean that the Babyhawk's camera is better, but I would say the VTX on this one, specification-wise, is probably better. It's a Unify Pro. It's connected up through to Betaflight, so you can configure it through the on-screen display. For me, that is better. The antenna placement on both of them seems very similar, both horizontal, I think, when I've looked at pictures of the Babyhawk. The one thing I don't like about the Babyhawk is the huge capacitor that's coming out the side. I believe that they are going to reroute that for the production version. We'll have to see about that, but I would say they're very close on paper for both of them, so you probably can't go wrong with either of them. They both seem like great models, and they're both touting like 4S, but probably they're both best used on a 3S, I would say, as well. Okay, let's go for the line of sight on a 3S battery, and let's see if I was right, whether the power is about the same as a 4S. Let's go for a punch. You know what? Not only is the power as much as a 4S, it's more. It's absolutely more. Yep. That's great. I do think there isn't going to be need for a 4S with this one. Which is hardly surprising. Oh, it flies nice. Also lighter on the 3S. Feels more nimble. Yeah, I like it. If you're wondering about the temperature, by the way, it's a toasty 2 degrees C, which is much more warmer than -6. It feels so much more warmer. I love how this one looks as well. See if you can hear that buzzer. Look at that. Come on, Diatone, get that on there. It needs it. Oh, this is awesome. This is brilliant. Looking forward to trying this one at FPV now. Feels even more dialed in, I think, with the PIDs that I gave it on a 3S as well. Still quite low gains, but that's fine. One thing that I noticed when I flew this on a 4S indoors, so I did a little hover test indoors, the motors were pretty warm. But I would say 3S battery, line of sight, it has passed. Let's come in for a landing, and I'm just gonna see how warm these motors are. Stone cold. That's what we want to see. Okay, so this is the Tattoo 4S 450 milliamp battery. It weighs 55 grams compared to the 550 milliamp 4S battery that I tried in the original review, so a little bit lighter. And the 3S battery that I was flying on before, 43 grams. So I am expecting more power out of this. Let's see. And actually, yes, there is more power. I think because it's a little bit lighter and a little bit of a better battery than the one I was using before as well. However, I'm not expecting decent flight times on this. 450 milliamp. I'd be surprised if we got 2 minutes, maybe 2 and a bit minutes at a push. But so far, it's flying fine on a 4S. So I do think it just was the conditions that I was flying in that caused the problem before. Which I think was expected. Yeah, I think though it's very close between the 3 and the 4S. Personally, I think it'd be better to go for a 3S battery, such as a 550 milliamp one opposed to a 450 milliamp 4S. You get a longer flight time and very similar power output, I would say. So yeah, extremely close between the 3 and 4S. A little bit louder on the 4S, but not too bad. Yeah, it's flying nice on both of these batteries. And I seem to have found a tune that suits both. Of course, there will be differences. You can set up different PID profiles. But what I've come up with here seems alright. And it does seem like this copter can take a 4S. If, you know, if that's what you want. And it's all about pushing the boundaries these days, isn't it? You know, sometimes it is a numbers game, even if the number doesn't mean more power. You can see there the buzzer's going off, so I'll come in for a landing and we'll do some FPV with it. So I'm actually starting off with the FPV footage of the 4S battery because, importantly, it only produced a 2.5 minute flight time, which I kind of predicted, but it actually weighed more than the 550 milliamp 3S battery, and you'll see that flight after this one. But that flight was 4.5 minutes. So yes, the 450 milliamp 4S battery did produce a tiny bit more power, but at the cost of flight time. And I dare say that if you went up in the milliamp, so maybe a 550 milliamp 4S or a 650 milliamp 4S, you would probably get a very similar, if not the same amount of power than you get out of the 3S battery, which is 550 milliamps. So again, just like I said in the line of sight video, I think the perfect battery for this would be a 550 milliamp 3S battery. You'll get a long flight time out of it and a decent amount of power. One thing I also noticed is that if you run a 4S battery, you get a little bit more noise on the video than you do with a 3S battery. And in all honesty, this copter could probably do with a capacitor just like they have added with the Babyhawk R. So yeah, you're still gonna get noise on the picture, but it's not debilitating. And another great thing about this as well is it did not catch fire. I personally flew this 4 or 5 times with a 4S battery, so I do think either it was a faulty component or just the terrible conditions that I put it in on my initial review. So I definitely apologize to Diatone because I said, yeah, don't run a 4S battery on this because it'll catch fire. That is not the case. However, I still stand by my opinion that I think a 3S battery is more suitable because you'll get a better flight time out of it. Anyways, I will put a link in the description if you wish to get one, and I recommend that you do because it's a good copter, and I'm going to now show you a flight with a 3S battery, which I recommend that you fly it on. And as always, thanks so much for watching. Please continue to subscribe. Cheers.
Trouble to sleep now for a couple of nights. Need to rebuild myself to come alive. It all makes sense now, now that the lights out. It's a different world to me, it makes me feel down. Wait until the storm comes down, until the sleep comes and makes it alright. Waiting for the morning light. Been having trouble to sleep now for a couple of nights. Need to rebuild myself to come alive.